So, guys, the effect of Donald Trump's policies is still telling on Nigerians. And this professor has come out to, tell the truth, as in what Nigerians are going through under Donald Trump's government in the United States. Yes, people believe that Donald Trump means well for the United States, but guess what? The effect, the outcome of some of his actions, his policies, is really really taking a toll on the people. Some people also say that it's just because this is the beginning, that with time things will stabilize and, lifestyle will just continue the normal way. But I don't know what you guys make of what is happening in the USA. This professor is saying that Nigerians are now hiding, they're avoiding, meeting people on the street just to avoid being picked up and sent home. And why all this is still worrisome is because the government in Nigeria has not even tried to make Nigeria a conducive place for people abroad to come home. Look at the insecurity, no infrastructure. People will just be wondering, what should I come home to do? I mean, there is fear in the hearts of people, and that is why the situation is even more tensed. People are scared. The business environment is not cool. I mean, the policies are there, disrupting businesses, making businesses to fold. Anyway, let me allow you to take a look at what this professor said. Take a look.
You are right there in the U.S. You're a professor in Boston University, and you're also the director of the African Studies Center in that school. Now, can you tell us, how do you read many or maybe some of the very interesting policies that President Trump has issued in these last 2 or 3 weeks of his administration, causing quite a bit of disruption around the world? Prof.
Yes, thank you for having me. Once again, I appreciate you bringing me back. Well, President Donald Trump resumed office on the 20th of January, and since resuming office, he has had a disruptive effect on the American economy, American society, and the greater world. Indeed, he promised that's what he was going to do, so he's keeping his promise. But if you look back at what he has done, it's been disruptive to the economy or to the psyche of people, or at least majority of Americans. So whether those who voted for him or who did not vote for him. And some of these policies that he has put in place is scary, at least to a certain group of people. Let us look at this drastic immigration policy. Yes, we have to give to him that he's maintaining law and order, or implementing the laws on the book as he promised. But he's doing that without mercy, and that is the part that concerns people. He's doing that without an issue of mercy. He claims to be a Christian. The evangelical Christians support him, but he's implementing his immigration policy, especially the deportation, the forceful deportation side, without compassion, right? And then that policy is done with spectacle, right? Because if you look at it, even in his first time, Obama, when he was in power, deported many more people than Trump. And then even Trump's first time, he deported people. But now he has not deported that many, but he has decided to create a spectacle, asking the immigration officer, ICE, to go there with cameras or so, just to have this fear, generate this fear in the populace, especially those without legal papers, or what you may call illegal immigrants or paperless immigrants. So there is this fear and spectacle, and that is not probably the right way to go about it. But what is much more concerning for others who have followed the career of Donald Trump and what he has done, and the implicit meaning of his "Let's Make America Great," are concerned that he is following the script of what in America today we call the Great Replacement Theory. It was talked much about during the campaign and even before on Fox News, that that Americans of color, that is brown and black skinned people, are going to overtake whites in population and in other things. So one way people interpret this, whether they're right or wrong, given that background and that theory, that Mr. Trump, the president, is deporting people who are mainly from the brown and black communities, so that demographic transition, that demographic takeover is not going to happen. So people see that way. It's not just a matter of law and order, but it's also a question of trying to keep certain balance of the population. Because experts are saying that in a matter of few years or 10 years or so, that non-whites are going to outnumber whites, and whites will be in the minority. And so this is seen as a desperate attempt for him to stop that trend. Whether that is what he has in his mind or not, one cannot tell. But one can interpret his action, and from his utterances in the past, we could see why people would attribute this kind of inclination to him. So that's on immigration. On the issue of tariff, as we are seeing, he's not paying attention to the economic effects or the possible economic effects of those tariffs, or the disruption in the global trade and payment system that will happen. Right. So one sees that as also his way of disrupting the system, or maybe he takes himself as a great negotiator. Maybe that is his opening gambit, right? But it's very disruptive. We saw how Canadian Prime Minister reacted to it, and we see what the Chinese are doing. Okay. And then you ask yourself, where is it getting its economic theories from? The only thing that came to my mind is what John Maynard Keynes said in his 1936 book, General Employment. He said there are some practical men in office who think they're not influenced by anybody, but they're actually being influenced by some defunct economists, and that they're beholden to some scribbler of a few years ago. So we see that in some of the economic policies that Trump is putting forward, for which many good economists has refused to accept, it may be that with all his good intention, he might be brilliant on old ideas. And that is what maybe this frenzy about tariff, which eventually is going to raise the price of goods in America, and he has promised to lower inflation. But the party is going, at least for now, does not seem to support his campaign promise that is going to lower inflation. Then on a third part, just about 2 days ago or so, he came out when the Prime Minister of Israel was visiting him, Netanyahu. He said that America was going to take over Gaza. And that was shocking to many people. And yesterday, his officials have been trying to walk that back. So they mean Wednesday, they're trying to walk that back. He made that comment on Tuesday or so, and by yesterday, some of his officials are walking the comment back. But he said that America is going to take over, and the people, all the 2 million people living in Gaza, that part of Palestine, are going to be moved to other countries, Egypt and Jordan, and America is going to turn that place into a real estate investment. And now, when his son-in-law said this last year, that was a plan, people thought he was joking. But now the President of America came in and said, for people in their own land, they've been there for thousands of years, you are going to uproot all of them and turn it to a real estate mecca for everybody. And then a reporter asked him, will the people ever come back? Who is going to lead? They said anybody from the wall is going to come there and lead. Maybe, and he said maybe the Palestinian can come in, and that he would send American troops to guard the place and to make it happen and put American investment. Now, if that is not disruptive, what else is disruptive in the global arrangement? But this was a president that in his campaign he said he's not going to get America into a new war. He's going to be America for America, right? But what he's saying is going to put American troops on the ground. America is going to be enmeshed in this struggle in Middle East more than it has ever been. But so when you put all this, I mean, just to give you this three example, immigration, tariffs, and the Gaza, you get the sense that the heads of Americas are spinning just to make sense of where this president is doing or where he's eventually taking them to.
Very, very interesting analysis, and you open up quite a lot of issues. Now, I want to come to you to give us an insight into how all of these policies, especially the immigration one, is affecting the Nigerian and the African community in the U.S. But first, I wanted to ask this one before we get to that, to say that clearly a big chunk of the American population don't see things the way President Donald Trump sees it. Yes, he won the election convincingly. I think probably at the end of the day, it came to about maybe 2 million or less in the popular vote. But a good number of Americans, significant number of Americans, don't see things the way he sees it. How are they responding locally, Professor Wariboko, from where you sit?
So, thank you for that question. Actually, if you look at the election figures, only about 30% of the American population that voted for him, and another close to another 30, about the same, close a few difference that voted for Kamala. Then the other 10 did not even show up to vote. So, but that is where democracy works, right? If you didn't show up to vote, hard luck.
Yeah.
So he won the election, but not this kind of overwhelming mandate that he talks about. So a lot of Americans don't see the way he sees the world. But his democracy is voted into into power, and he's doing it. So initially, in the first few days, people were just shocked. His policy was like the shock and awe of American invasion of Iraq, kind of that shock and awe. But over time, people are now beginning to organize protests, getting on their phone to call their senators or so. And so gradually, some form of protest is beginning to form. Take, for instance, one of the disruptive things that he did about 2 Mondays ago, he woke up and said he has stopped all payment to federal system. So no one could get any payment. If any form of payment he has stopped, except it's a Medicaid and Medicare. But that was so disruptive that governors and senators begin to call him, because even the Republican states, the red states that voted for him, their governors and their senators and the House of Rep and the political heavyweights, they began to call him, and he has to back down from that. That he can't just wake up and suspend the whole payment system of the Federal Republic, because it's disruptive to the whole economy and to the welfare and well-being of the average American. So he backed down. So people are beginning to resist that, and we can see more of that growing over time. That people will begin to push back on some of these policies, or at worst, people would, at least the midterm election would come in, and if he loses the House and the Senate, then there'll be an effective blockade of his policy in the House and the Senate. Or even if it's one house that he loses, it's going to slow slow him down. But I guess what he's doing is trying to do as many things as possible in a short time before the midterm comes in. So he can push through a lot of this, probably change the orientation of America towards him. But right now, in many places, he's causing pain to even the people that voted for him.
Interesting. So it's good that you actually mentioned the midterm elections that's going to be coming in less than 2 years. I understand that even in Iowa, already where a Senate seat became vacant when the Republican holder went to become the lieutenant governor of Iowa, that it was, and where actually Mr. Donald Trump won the election in November, that the Republicans have lost that seat. That seems to be one of the pushback in the American society itself. And of course, the judge that is, handling the case of the citizenship birthright, who said that he couldn't even imagine that a lawyer can put up such a case. My point, just before we now come to Africans and Nigerians, is that it seems that Mr. President Donald Trump is not going to have it easy with some of these his rather outlandish ideas. Do you get that sense that, as much as hard as it tries, that there is going to be a sufficient institutional resistance, from America? Do you get that sense, Prof?
Yeah, I get that sense, but mixed with some ambiguity, right? So my belief and what I know is that the institutions, the democratic institutions of America is going to resist him. Like waking up and says he's suspending the birthright citizenship. That is a constitutional stuff. You can't just use an executive order to suspend it. It has to go to voting in the different states, and it has to be approved properly. It's a constitution, but how will he wake up and say he's suspending a part of the constitution? So yes, so the judges, the judiciary will resist him. People are taking some of these matters to court. Of course, so they're going to use the judicial system, the court system, and then eventually the political system to resist him.
So what is the reaction in the African community, especially the Nigerian community? I lived in the place for 17 years. Are the prayer points changing in the churches and in the mosques? What is happening in the community, with all these immigration issues, citizenship birthright that has implication for our people? Prof?
Yes, so I would say I've observed or heard and seen two types of sentiments. One is about what is happening in the US and the response to it, and what Nigerians here feel about Nigerians in Nigeria, which is very interesting. Here, of course, there are a good number of Nigerians that don't have papers, right? So they are worried. And so if you are a pastor, if you are a leader in that community, you are really worried for those people. You have concern for them. What is going to happen? Are they going to be deported? Some of them are hiding. Also, so there is that palpable fear, right, that they could be raided. Also, if you have a quarrel with your neighbor, they can call the ICE office, that's Immigration Enforcement Unit, to come and take you out. So there is that palpable fear, more than what one has ever seen among certain group of Nigerians, right? So my heart goes out to them. But at the same time, so they are fearful, they are angry, they don't know what is going to happen. But at the same time, they are also angry with their Nigerian citizens, with their brothers and sisters in Nigeria, on at least for two or three reasons. number one, they feel like while they are feeling the pain of Trumpism, while they're feeling the pain of renewed racism and oppression, while they're feeling the pain of uncertainty, what is going to happen, Nigerians, they are celebrating Trump. That
Wow.
is God sent. When even in his swearing in, he wouldn't put his hand on the Bible. They insist is God sent. They insist is forcing the immigration laws because somebody needs to
do it.
implement a law and an order. So they celebrate him. Oh, they said they need a strong autocratic leader like Trump to rule Nigeria. So they say, and the Nigerians are saying, don't you have compassion for your fellow brothers and sisters here? And you are going on some kind of ideological trip and forget the real pain of Nigerians here, what psychological and physical pain. And so that is, they said, why can't you see the policy for what it is? That at the end of the day, if this great replacement theory holds, then your brothers and sisters are going to be sent back home. Do you have jobs to absorb them? What are you going to do? Because even those with legal papers and have acquired U.S. citizens could still be in jeopardy, right? So if he wants to change birthright law, that if you're born here, you're an American, if he changes that, how far will that go? Will he also change the fact that if you have a green card, you can no more, they're not going to allow you to be a citizen, so you cannot vote, and therefore you hang on the balance, or you something precarious, or he revokes your green card, or revokes even your citizenship, right? So they feel that Nigerians in their social media and their commentary are just not aware of what Nigerians and Africans are going through. And they said, even if you don't like us, people in the US send billions of dollars home every year, literally, to sustain the Nigerian economy, to sustain their families. So even for the sake of economic interests, Nigeria should care about that, because there's money that is coming from here to sustain different families. If for many families, if they have people abroad in Europe, Asia, or in the United States or Canada, their economic life well-being will be below what they have in the country. Right. So if people know that politics is about defending your economic interests, then they will be defending their fellow citizens, because it's in the national interest of Nigeria that these people in diaspora stay, because we are sending more money to Nigeria than they get from exports of many things. And so why would even the government not say? I talked to a top government official in one of the states, and it was in support of Trump. I said, look, you can support him on your Christian feelings, or so. I don't have a problem. But as a government official, you are supposed to look after the economic interests of Nigerians and Nigerians abroad. So if anywhere in the world somebody's coming with a policy that ultimately is going to affect the Nigerian economy, then you should frontline that, stage that as something to be defended.
So, guys, I don't know what you make of all this. I don't know what you make of the Donald Trump's, his policies. As for me, I supported Donald Trump because we wanted to see an American where people will come out, they will not be quiet. We wanted to see an America where we believe in, the two genders, man and woman. We wanted to see an America where people now believe in God. Christianity is booming. We wanted to see an America, where all the wars that we are seeing across the world will be brought to a stop. We wanted to see an America where rule of law, is being upheld. And those were some of the things that Trump promised, and that was how he won my heart. So I'm just like, I don't know if these policies are really meaningful for the people. Some people have said that these policies are just for a while. It's because it's the beginning, that the beginning of everything good comes with, you know, some tough situations. So with time, things are going to normalize and life is going to continue even more better than it is today. So guys, I don't know what you make of this. I don't know what you think about Donald Trump's policy. Do you think it really worth it? You know, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Bye.